what I really want to see is Newbee lock down that support combo. They've looked like a different team when Kaka is on his Sand King or on his Earth Spirit versus everything else. They did win a game with him on his Rubik with EG, but that was the second game, and he really looked shaky for the first 30 minutes.
No surprise with that ban from Newbee.
So I'd really like to see either the Earth Spirit in the first phase for Newbee, the Sand King maybe barring that no later than third. For VP, man, those Ench opens look so good against Liquid. I'm wondering if you go to that again.
We know what the other two words were next to him.
So Newbee ban out the Ogre.
Yeah, Newbee have done their homework. That's exactly the opens that VP went with in the last series.
So if you're a Newbee, what are the options right now? Because there's a decent chance that Virtus.Pro just open up with the NP, and Newbee has the option of taking, what is it, Earth Spirit or Puck?
Yeah, I like Earth Spirit Puck as an open, depending on, especially since you have first pick. So you can see what VP do before you pick your puck. The Veno, so this is a hero, this is kind of the only hero besides the Puck that's featured in the first phase as a core. They're very confident with KP's offlane Veno play. They will move it mid to SCCC, but I really don't like that. That's not the kind of playmaking hero that he excels with.
So we talked about the NP and how if Newbee doesn't take it right there, it's very likely that Virtus.Pro do. And this is kind of something that Liquid likes to do as well. Fear their nature's prophet. You just add another look, another flavor. And it feels like they really like Pasha on that hero because it pressures the lane so well. And we talked about how they really like to put that importance on the laning phase. The Bane into Nature's Prophet is going to do exactly that. So for Newbee, I think you take either the Puck or they take Undying.
Yeah. And it's, again, I felt like it was important for them to secure at least one of their supports in the first phase. I don't necessarily like that it's this one. I thought Faith eventually played a good game on that Undying against CG, but I mean, he was poor. He was like one of the poorest supports in the tournament at the 35-minute mark in that game. The other thing that I'll add to Will's point about the Nature's Prophet, they don't do it often, VP, but like Liquid, VP can threaten to shift that Nature's Prophet down into the safe lane or even very, very rarely over to the mid-roll. And I think that gives it sort of the extra bump strategically, makes it a hugely scary first phase pick.
You don't need a lot, though, to make NP work.
Yep.
As in, you don't have to be too tricky with that hero. There are like some heroes in Dota that conceptually like feel very broken. And if they had like 1 or 2 buffs, they would just like straight up be unplayable. For example, who's that hero? Arc Warden. Like Arc Warden conceptually should be very broken. Of course, he's like a little bit too weak at times. But if you gave him like one more nudge, like in the right direction, that hero would be unplayable to play against. And I think Nature's Prophet has that kind of same fundamental characteristic. Like we would talk about it on both teams that I was a part of. Like what heroes, like what skill set is just unbelievable. And if you think about Nature's Prophet, the ability to teleport anywhere on the map is absolutely insane. Like that's bonkers. It's such an abusable ability. And so he's always going to be okay.
You almost feel if someone came out with the idea of a hero now and suggested it, you'd tell them they were mad.
Yeah, I was like, you're telling me, and his level 25 talent, he has a 0-second TP, where mobility matters so much in Dota. Like,
especially in this last few patches as well.
I also think one of the underrated aspects of NP is that level 10 health talent. I've talked about the heroes, your Pugnas, your Bloodseekers, your Nature's Prophets that benefit a lot from that level 10 health talent, helping them just tank up a little bit to get into fights and have a better chance of living. So we are going to see VP ban out the Puck. That's something we talked about a lot in the first phase. It's a little interesting. I expected possibly the Earth Spirit or the Sand King ban for VP. They've chosen to go ahead. The Puck I can't argue with. I think it is actually a mistake against Newbee to ban out SCCC because if you look back to TI7, he played 20 different heroes in their 27 games.
And he's super comfortable across the board.
Virtus.Pro's turn to pick.
So
Virtus not one of those sort of 3-4 hero mids that play. So yeah, tough target.
Yep. So expect them. They're generally going to pick up their other support here.
There's option-wise, you can take Rubik if you think it's good against the Veno, which seems to be a lot of people's preferred pick against it, but there's options. You can take You can take Marana as well. It pairs well with the Bane. They take Bounty.
Yeah, they did that, and remember they did that in the opening. In fact, this is exactly the same 3-hero open
Versus
that they
Keen.
used against Keen, right?
What were the last 2 heroes in that game? They had
DP and Bloodseeker.
DP and Bloodseeker.
Yep.
And they were against Marana that time.
Yes. Yeah, that was partially because Keen had committed to a first phase Marana, and they really punished that hero throughout the game.
This is a little awkward for Newbee. I think they need a hero that can't really die mid.
That's a hero that we've seen a lot from the Western teams, less so from Newbee. It makes their support combination very scary in lane. And I think that's, again, when Newbee are looking back at VP's replays, I think they're thinking to themselves, we can't rely exclusively on counter punching in the series. We have to threaten the VP lanes early. We have to be the ones that have a chance to dictate the early game rotations.
It's a little bit of an awkward pick because you already have an Undying, but it makes a lot of sense. It's one of the better ways to deal with Bounty Hunter. Like, you just charge him as soon as you see him on the map. You get to him even if he's invis, you'll just pop dust and kill him right after. So Bounty doesn't get that free movement like he likes. And it's the same with Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet shows for half a second. You just charge and run at him and don't allow him to play that game that Nature's Prophets likes to play.
Yeah, I like it. The only problem is I like Newbee best when Kaka's hero counters the enemy cores, the enemy farming cores. I like it when Kaka has options against that big 1 and 2 position, those high value targets on the enemy team. So Will's absolutely right, and it makes sense here. But okay, yeah, boy oh boy. This, I worry that in the last 2 picks, Virtus.Pro is going to pick these very strong laning heroes, and Newbee isn't really going to have enough degrees of freedom left to counter the big no one and Ramsey's threats. Those are, as the game goes on, what you have to worry about in terms of VP just being able to roll over you and end the game.
That's an interesting pick. That's the second time I think we've seen it this tournament. Secret won it.
Virtus.Pro's turn to
Interesting. So that, okay, now that Batrider pick gives us a lot of information because that is now looking like it's going to be an SCCC Veno. I guess they do run Mugi on the Veno as well.
Yeah.
They're keeping it open, and it's not a bad Veno mid or Veno safe lane because then you don't have to utilize the Undying and the Spirit Breaker to try to help him. You can just focus on the mid lane, which I think is the better idea.
Yeah, that was sort of the other question that came into my mind when I saw that Batrider pick. Is that you don't necessarily look at Veno mid against Leshrac as something you want to set up. This is probably safe lane at this point.
So they themselves banned the Lifestealer?
Yeah, it's definitely a comfort hero for both Mugi and Ramsey's. Ramsey's stats on Lifestealer are unbelievable.
10 seconds.
So for Newbee, I think they need a hero that just like doesn't die, can trade out. I'm okay with the Marana or the DP. Like, I think you want a relatively defensive hero. So if the Nature's Prophet TP comes in, you can't really die to it.
Yeah, I like DP a lot here. I think that makes the most sense of the heroes that are left with the Queen of Pain band and the TA kind of countered by the Leshrac.
So DP or Marana would be one of my 2 ones, although Newbee's kind of taken a weird turn that I didn't really expect. And for Virtus.Pro, my weird pick is Phantom Lancer.
I was thinking Alk, actually. But I think the big thing that concerns me, I feel like VP, pending this pick from Newbee, I feel like VP just have so many options for their 5th. I mean, it's going to be a Ramsey's hero, but there's just a lot of stuff in his pool that I think is still good. I think Sven's good.
Yeah, Sven's all right. He's going to get kited, though.
I think Bloodseeker's fine
Virtus.Pro's turn
for them
to
5th.
pick.
Okay, all right. Now, I probably should have seen this coming a little bit more because we talked about the importance of having a pushing element for Newbee. The difference here is that I think that the Terrorblade really makes sense. VP probably not going to go something like Zeus with a lot of magical burst at this point because that leaves them really, really lacking in the physical damage department.
Yeah, thought they would have taken something a bit different, but I wonder what prompted that. I guess laning phase-wise, it's okay. There's not a lot of hard lockdown for him. They can't clear from a distance.
And Newbee not having much of a track record on this hero, it makes me question what the lanes are going to be. I think they may actually still put the Terrorblade in the safe lane.
Do you like PL or Legion? I'm down with either. If you're really crazy...
Dude, I like Legion a lot. I am so down with Legion against the Terrorblade here. The Purge against the Batrider, it's so sick.
I'm okay with either of those heroes.
Why PL?
I just like PL.
Okay.
PL's a cool hero.
No, it's fair enough.
I think Melini has something to say about that, but we'll find out when we
he'll say
it
it.
over.
He'll have his time in the sun. I think Ben isn't a fan of PL.
Okay,
Oh,
there it is. Will with the sick call.
So now
Love
I'll
it, Will.
explain it.
Love it.
So I was thinking, what's really good against Tombstone? Illusion-based heroes, and what's also good against Batrider in lane? There's like 3 options left. They banned out one of them. I think people really like PL against Spat. It's hard to die. You just like doppel walk away, and the fact that it can hit the Venom wards and the Tombstone, for me, it was like a really solid pick overall.
Yeah, very smart end to the draft from Virtus.Pro. Both have their 5s now. Alan, what do you like most?
I think Will has me sold on the PL pick. I doubted it, but the logic is there. And I think I gave VP the edge going into the series. I like their draft maybe a little bit better, relatively even. I'm going to go with Virtus.Pro in game 1.
Well,
Virtus.Pro.
5 seconds.
I felt like the PL completes the draft. It was the hero that they needed. I think that they're just going to overrun them. Low cooldown abilities, wins Dota.
all right, like it. Both of our experts have gone with Virtus.Pro. They have the vote right here, but do they have it in game? We're about to get underway for our first semi-final of the day, searching for a grand finalist and an MVP.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final day of Dota here at ESL Hamburg. I'm OD Pixel. I'm going to be joined by Melini for this one. VP versus Newbee. The drafts, the lineups are in. Ben, what are we thinking? It was that 5th pick PL that the panel were talking about. How scary is that for Newbee this match?
This is a really good PL game. I think Will just hates PL, actually. You called it, but you also hate the hero. Every time I'm like, oh yeah, PL, he's like, no, I hate that hero. Every single time. But at least he made the right call. It's really good versus low AoE lineups. Their AoE is pretty much just what, Veno ulti, I would say, which is really, really bad. And of course, it's really good at dealing with summons, tombstones, wards, Batrider in lane. Checks all the boxes.
And of course, one thing to watch out for as well is the way that Lil plays. We saw him already do this once, at least, this tournament, and he had an incredible game with it. The positioning, the things that he was able to achieve on that bounty hunter. So Newbee definitely have to be aware of how he can play. As it was a hero before this land that it didn't really get through that many times. Not something that VP prioritized, but showing us that they know how to use this hero to great strength. The question if Newbee are ready to deal with it. I definitely feel, looking at these lineups as well, there's going to be a portion of the game where the Terrorblade is going to suffer, surely. You're a very, low HP core against someone like a Leshrac. Sure, you got the armor, but against Magical, there's going to be stages of the game where if VP get a jump on you, it's going to be hard for the TB to fight back.
Especially without a save. I guess their best save is going to be the Soul Rip. So the lanes are actually not what we expected from SCCC. It is not a KP Batrider. It is a KP Venomancer, which means it's an SCCC Batrider.
That's exciting.
And he's played a lot of different heroes this tournament, but I don't think we've ever seen him play Batrider.
Definitely seeming to be a new one. I don't know if we can get a stat on how many games he's played, but it can't be that many, at least in the competitive scene. Mid lane matchup indeed is going to be again for the time being the 2v2, both Faith and Solo battling it out. Solo's going to have a bit of a tougher time as Faith chases him down. as that decay to make sure that Solo can't out-damage him. Lil is there, though. Can turn this into a 2v1. They'll look towards Faith. Top lane, that's going to be where the first focus is for Newbee as they close down onto Pasha. The three of them chasing him into the tree line, trying to duke it out with the branch. In fact, with a stun from Ramses, it's going to buy him just enough time. Pasha will survive. Very neat little play there with the branch, and Ramses just in time getting that stun off.
Just in time. So SCCC on a non-scaling hero, that's not really the formula that Newbee have really gone with a lot. As you probably saw yesterday, like the level 25 quad was a big turning point in the game in their series yesterday. So they're going to have some heavy lifting, I would say, from Mugi this game on the Terrorblade. But I think the more playmaker hero also suits SCC a little bit more too. I really dislike him on the Venom just because, you know, there's not that much upside to the Venom plays in the mid.
Now we'll see this again. Pasha cuts his way through, drops that branch. They do take it down pretty quickly, but just that little moment of time that Newbee are forced to hesitate buys the space for Pasha to get away.
Yeah, I thought he was dead for sure.
Mid lane, no one has to be careful. Well, I say that, of course. He's got the doppelganger.
Yep.
Very, very good against the bat. Removing those sticky napalm stacks every time. And can allow him to play aggressively as such, especially when he has backup from either Lil or Solo. But for the time being, Solo's gone down to the bottom lane. He's with Pasha. Mugi switching around, just trying to find somewhere we can get the farm. And it's not going to be too easy on his own down here at the bottom. Does, of course, have decent amounts of armor, but once a few levels are on that Bane with the Brain Sapperess, it could get annoying for the Terrorblade.
They wanted the Venomancer not versus the Nature's Prophet, so this is why they're kind of trying to swap lanes. The Nature's Prophet just kills a ward super easily and always has that TP out just in case you take too much poison damage. It's not that great of a matchup for him. But at the same time, Mugi, yeah, he's having trouble, especially with the threat of the Bounty Hunter in the game. They don't know where Lil is.
Absolutely, and top lane Ramses with these lane switch rounds, this means he's on his own for the time being. Getting heavily pressured back. The CS still looking good for him. He is second highest. Mid lane, quite a difference when you take into account the denies between No One and SCCC. 15 for 10 on the PL compared to the 10 for 2 on Bat. Kaka looking for the charge down bottom. Unlikely he's going to be able to find too much out of this. He will indeed cancel it. And in fact himself, he has to be careful. Lil and Solo looking to just force him out, keeping tabs on the Spirit Breaker. At the end of the day, if Lil can spend his time making sure that Kaka doesn't find opportunities to charge in and get involved, it's going to be time well spent for the bounty. Mid lane, Solo. Not going to be able to get an angle to closing onto SCCC. Ramsey's top lane will be forced to TP out. This pressure really starting to ramp up from KP and Faith. This absolutely disgusting Veno Undying combination proving to be rather tricky for Ramsey to lane against. Mid lane Solo. We'll look for this up for the setup. I mean, it's still a very healthy Bat Rider. Not really a stage where VP can dive, even with the three of them. With the sentry down, Lil will be harassed back.
And he has the early raindrops too, opting for that over the boots, considering there's a bounty hunter in the game. He doesn't really want to just die early on. So it's a safe build for him.
Oh, see if he can get the rune. Still he can. Kaka, just in time.
Is under attack.
Take the arcane. Does have a dust. He'll look to give Lil a bit of a rundown, but doesn't really want to chase up the high ground. Down top, Faith gets the two-man decay, trying to get himself away, but Ramses will take him down, and that will be your first blood. As VP finally able to find that kill 4 minutes in.
Really cool trick from Lil too. As soon as he got dusted, he popped the Fairy Fire, so he wouldn't be invis anymore. I mean, you can pop a Clarity, but you're not really getting as much value, because it might just get immediately canceled out. So he hasn't sniped any couriers yet, Lil has not, but he's still being a huge pain.
He is. I mean, it's pretty much taken all of the focus from Kaka. He's constantly just been looking for where the bounty is and the bounty vice versa, making sure that VP don't get caught out by Kaka's positioning. Lil, again, able to just walk it off, and these two supports, at this stage, unable to really do too much about Lil.
Their Spirit Breaker ward is finally down, though. They just had a ward right where NewB placed one, and that's the very common Spirit Breaker ward to see whether or not he's charging mid or bottom lane. So now they have to be a lot more careful about how the Spirit Breaker is going to play out. He has a reserve ward in the stash, but probably not going to be able to get there in time.
So we say there's a certain side here that's happier with the first 5 minutes of this game?
Well, Undying hasn't really been able to lane against anyone, so I would say Virtus.Pro has had the better end, just because they haven't really been able to deal with Lil yet. And as we saw in the other game too, he can catch up really easily. He doesn't really need levels. He's just there to mess Newbee's early game up, get information on the lanes, snipe some couriers if he can, threaten some kills. And Ramsey's playing very, very safely. He doesn't have a TP scroll.
Does have backup. Solo's going to come in with the TP. Kaka leading in under the tower. They've got the tombstone down. They want to fight, but so do VP, Lil, and Pasha turning up with the global teleport, ready to turn things round. Sprouts down, blocking up Kaka's path and trapping up KP. But Ramsey's stun is off the mark, and the decays, they are building up. Faith, he's just ready to turn back in with Kaka. VP have to be careful. Pasha getting low. Kaka surrounded by the treants. He will be the first to fall in this engagement. Pasha TP's back out. VP will be able to come out on top of the fight there, getting a kill, keeping everyone else alive. Some very well executed team fights, and VP just, you have to be careful diving against them because Pasha, we've seen him play it before. He's absolutely bang on with his attendance to these early fights as the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, and enough time to come into with the Nightmare. So they can't really protect the Tombstone. That's kind of an issue for them this early in the game, and that's without the PL in the game too. PL can get there very, very quickly. At least they have that observer ward up there so they can kind of see what's going on, but VP, they're sending everyone in force up top.
You can see Pasha toying around with TP as he is just indicating that as soon as Newbee are ready to go up top, he will be there ready to turn things back around. A head down bottom, Mugi was putting a bit of pressure onto the tower with the Metamorphosis. And up top, that's where most attention is. They really want to bring down Ramses. They're going to go for a second attempt. Tombstone's there ready again. Ramses, again, unable to find the stun, and he will go down. Oh no, the Nightmare's there. He still goes down. Can they get the kills in return? That's the question. They're looking towards Kaka. Get one. The rest of Newbee TPing out, and there's nothing to cancel KP or Fave's TP. So this time, Newbee, again, they do lose one, but they get what they came for. They are able to knock Ramses out.
Leshrac is really, really important for Virtus.Pro because he's their main tool for dealing with Mugi. You need tons and tons of magical damages. So he's really the only one that can offer that on his team. So if he's super underfarmed, he can't run in, use his Pulse Nova to take down these illusions and just the main chunk of Terrorblade's life. So I think it's the right tactic from Newbee to focus so much on Ramses in the early game. You might be like, is it worth it? They're like sending so many heroes up there, they're not really getting that much farm, but I think it's worth it for them.
As long as they can make sure the game is never at a stage where that lets you sort of on top of the TB to a state where, you know, there's just no chance for Mugi to farm. I think Newbee are going to be happy with the flow of the game. Down bottom, Solo comes in, reveals himself. There's going to be a charge inbound.
14 stick charges though.
That's a bit of a tough one. Well, if he comes too aggressively over, there's going to be a lot of time for SCCC and Mugi to start beating into him. Pasha can come over to help him out. Lil also in the neighborhood if they feel like they can turn, but with 3 heroes surrounding him, they may just have to let Solo go. He'll pot the 1 charges, it won't save him. Solo's down. Pasha no one, seeing if they can find a turnaround. Leading in onto SCCC with the Spirit Lance. Can they bring down the bat? He's trying to firefly up to the high ground. He will make it. Ramses comes in, looking for the stun connection, gets it onto the Spirit Breaker. They found 2 in return. VP, again, able to come out on top of these trades. Only losing a Bane for that one, but we're seeing just how both teams are so quick to react to any sort of action and make sure they do everything to ensure it swings their way. And again, it's a lot harder for Newbee. It's much easier for VP to just appear there, whether it be Lil just, you know, slinking around from the Invis or Pasha TPing in ready to fight.
That's always been a part of Virtus.Pro's draft though, is so that they can buy enough time to TP in. Like the Bane solo has been, he's been involved a lot, he's been dying, he's been trying to...
That's a curious snap as well. Pasha, tell you, he is everywhere that he's needed to be so far this game, involved in 4 of the 5 kills. Sure, it's incredibly kill crazy this game, this first 9 minutes, but Pasha's been there. And courier sniping as well. It's looking very good for the Nature's Prophet. Down bottom, Solo seeing if he can dive in and get a hold onto Kaka, some sort of setup with the Nightmare. Kaka trying for the charge out. Oh, Ramses just off the mark with that stun.
That cast point.
It's a hard one to time.
KP's farm is so low. You thought they were pressuring Leshrac, but Leshrac's actually number 3. And KP is really low on the network. He needs some time to catch up. But they have so many heroes that want to be able to farm the jungle. The Bat Rider, the Venno, the Terrorblade.
Lil has eyes on Mugi.
Yeah, one of the best heroes at scouting out jungle opportunities for his team. Nature's Prophet's level 6 too, so this could get real hairy for Newbee.
Definitely could, if they can time it nicely with the Nature's Wrath. But it's, I mean, with just those two, they do need Ramses to come in across as well, it feels like, if they want to have a chance of bringing down Mugi. Ramses is there now. If they can get a Nightmare into a combo. He'd have a good chance, but Mugi will back away, senses something's wrong, and will not be caught out. See if VP can get something else there. They continue this movement, wrapping around towards the mid lane, looking for Faith, but again, Ramses can't quite find the stun. Faith getting the Spirit Lance in onto him from no one. Lil diving the tower as well with the Shuriken. Faith falling low, and he will be taken down. Immediately, as soon as that fight happens mid, you see KP, the Venomance just TP out of the lane. He doesn't want to stick around. They can't fight this 5-man VP at this stage. They're incredibly strong with this Lesh and PL, and they'll move in and take the tier 1.
Bat needs to get his Blink Dagger and start things out. Oh, actually, here he has it in a stash.
Yeah, he just can't get it out to him at the moment with that Courier Snipe. I mean, it's a good job it wasn't on there, of course, when Pasha did go for the Sniper voice. That would have been an incredible nightmare for Newbee. CCC does just have to take the time to head back, pick it up, get that smoke, and as you say, find something big with this Blink Dagger reveal.
Ideally, Phantom Lancer. Leshrac is way easier kill, though.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about Doppelganger at all.
Oh, look at that, Pasha. He comes in with the teleport. He's found Mugi. He's trying to TP out of there, but with Solo in range, they've got the Nightmare into the potential combo. Ramses will surround him with this amount of magical coming out. There's nothing that Mugi can do. No chance to Sunder.
Perfect TP coming
Absolutely. Pasha, he just seems to know where they are. Every time. These TPs, we haven't seen a single time that he's TP'd in and it's been useless.
And
He's always achieved something.
I think they prioritized the tome on the Bounty Hunter, it looks like. He was
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was what, 5 and yeah, that's definitely bumped him up. There's the blink that we talked about. That's the sort of pick-off they need to get. The question is if they'll actually get it. No one's going to get a chance to Doppelganger. Can they finish this kill off? They need to. They get the flame break up, but the deny! Pasha! This, I tell you what, he's doing it today. It looks like he may go down or get the Nature's Wrath off, trying to get back underneath the tier 2 tower, but Newbee will chase him down. They do take the kill. Ramses is turning up to the fight. They're ready to turn things back in favor of VP. They get the kill on KP. Lil shrining up, getting that mana so he can continue to get these tracks out. They're all tracked up at the moment on Newbee. Faith is surrounded. Ramses will clean up a second. And VP able to punish Newbee heavily for that. Sure, they're able to force the death of the PL, but the denies there from Pasha. Overall gold, just a slight advantage for VP, but again, it's just these, especially in matches that between these teams that are so closely matched in skill level, it's these little trades that mean everything, and VP are continuing to come out on top of them.
Track on track, though. They're going to add up.
And look at this again, Pasha. I
That was
can't
such a
believe he
crazy-
gets that denied.
Yeah.
Like,
Through the
that's absolutely
blink.
insane. Pasha is playing on top of his game today. Very strong Nature's Prophet player. Very strong player in all, and his build's looking good. Phase drums now looking towards the Orchid, and of course if he can get that before there's the Manta Style on Mugi, the game gets so hard for the Terrorblade.
This game's already pretty hard for them. They get decent kill on Lil, but I think like one of the problems with Newbee's lineup, I think Will mentioned, is that they're very cooldown dependent. They have to wait for Lasso, they have to wait for Metamorphosis. These are very, very long cooldowns, and even though they use all these cooldowns in the mid lane, they weren't able to get a clean kill, nor were they able to get a tower. So you have to wonder how they're actually going to fight without any of these cooldowns up for them. And especially when they're like, you know, getting 1-for-2s, 1-for-1s, they're going to lose out the track hold eventually. So they need a big play now. They need like a 3-for-0 sweep into a mid. And what better way to do it than a smoke?
But this is the thing, they're smoking into a smoke, and this is a no-one PL, 14 minutes in, and he's got Diffusal Blade complete. This is an insane amount of damage that's going to be flying out for this PLN's Illusions. They've got the Fiend's Grip to lead in straight away onto Mugi. He needs help, he needs it fast. SCCC comes in with the lasso, cancels the Fiend's Grip. No one already jumping into the middle of the wall, but it's a great poison over on KP. It gets all three of VP. They're just melting to this poison. 3 of them are down. Newbee's still alive. The Shuriken bounce is not enough. Mugi gets out of there. They're going to lose Lil as well as SCCC chases down the Bounty Hunter. They have Dust. Lil is gone. 4 dead on VP. Beautiful fight from Newbee. Mugi gets out on just the slither of health. And all in all, it was just they didn't expect the smoke. They thought that they could go for that kill on the TB, but at the end of the day, it was just a bit of a bait. Newbee were more than ready to jump in and save Mugi.
They were in the perfect position. The thing about it is Virtus.Pro didn't even use scan there. They were very confident in that kill. But Grip got interrupted, Sunder came off, and after that it was just a huge mess for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah, the absolute dream for KP's Venomancer there. The amount of damage he did in that fight. insane. They have got the setup onto SCCC. Lots of damage from Ramses. No chance for SCCC's escape. See if Newbee can get something in return. Charge comes through onto both. He does have to respect this Leshrac though. Ramses just looking to chase him down. Kaka has to back off. They've got 3 of them on Newbee. Pasha now turning up to help out VP. They'll take down the tombstone from the high ground. Sprout trapping up Faith, but he heals himself up with the Soul Rip. 2-man decay. Faith's gonna be fine for now. No one's finally turned up. They've got the track, but here's Mugi on the sidelines with the Metamorphosis. VP, they have to be careful. Lots of damage coming out from this Terrorblade. No one's desperately trying to finish off the kill onto Faith, and he will get it. Kaka as well looks to fall as the track gold is going to build up. Pasha does tick down to the inner shadows. 1 down on VP. They really want to get Mugi as well. They've found 3 kills. So many track kills in this fight going the way of VP, but SCC's back. Lasso's there onto no one. They shut down the PR, but Ramses with a 2-man stun. Moving it onto Mugi. Another track kill for VP. SCCC's got to get out of there. They can't afford to lose more to VP in these sort of fights. I don't know how many track kills that was, but it seemed like at least 4 or 5 men.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot.
It's adding up.
Leshrac had Bloodstone that fight too, so he was back in to sweep in and clean up. That was great coordination coming out from Mugi and SCCC. They were able to kill that PL in a matter of just less than the duration of a lasso. That's really great for them. And Ramses is pretty big. You saw how long it took them to even bring him down to half HP at the start of the fight without Mugi there. So
I mean, I guess this is the problem. You look at Newbee's line, they don't have any sort of burst or any way to quickly kill this Leshrac at the moment. They have to lasso him, but at the same time, as we've seen, SCCC's been pretty much prioritizing the lasso onto no one, which is understandable because he himself as well, with that quick diffuser blade, is pumping out an insane amount of damage in these fights. If they don't control him at the start, it's just that at this stage, with the 2 lineups you have, the skirmishes are always going to have the potential to get very messy for Newbee.
Yeah, they need way more damage from KP. He does have his Veil, so he's getting there. I think he needs to I mean, they don't have that much like sustain on Virtus.Pro, right? So it's really the Venom Master's job to whittle them down into HP where Terrorblade can just clean them up and get vision so that Batrider gets a clean jump onto whomever he wishes.
And all in all, as we can see with the 4K net worth lead, the big difference being that between these fights, Ramses is keeping up insanely in farming. He's at the top by quite some mile, and 7, 2, and 5 on the Leshrac. Perfect involvement from him each time these fights are kicking off. Pasha has got the first Oblivion Staff done towards the Orchid.
He's going to have Manta relatively soon on Terrorblade.
Yeah, he should have. We should have the Manta
about the same time.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Yeah, he should. But actually, to be fair, he should have it before this pace. So Mugi should have that before the Orchid's done. So far, all in all, very close game, and even though VP do have the edge now, Newbee do have that late game TV threat, but at the same time there is the PL that's going to scale very nicely. So VP, I'd say, definitely a little more comfortable with how the game's going at this stage.
I mean, Reflection is going to be still pretty good versus PL at the later phase of the game, so that's one of the abilities that you're actually, you know, a little worried about getting too big. Same with Morphing Replicate, Shadow Demon, Disruption. These kind of spells sometimes you itemize like anti-illusion. Like I remember like No Tails, Ags Luna in particular, but most of the time you just deal with it. So we see the early medallion coming out from them. Not sure if they're going to get the Roche opportunity though. That their lineup's not particularly good at Roche. Phantom Lancer is actually pretty terrible at taking out objectives because you can't propagate illusions.
Talking about PL, that ward down there is going to set something up for the initiation as they come in with the Nether Strike into Lasso. No chance for no one to escape.
What an Observer ward too.
Absolutely. Just getting the vision right down in that gap, as you can see. He was hiding in the tree line, but the perfect placement. Keeping eyes on that little indentation of the trees. Very nice.
Does that ward get your MVP vote in this game?
I think it's getting it. Very, very, very nicely placed. But I'm questionable whether it's placed with that sort of intent. Maybe it was. You know, maybe they know that that's one of no one's little favorite hiding spots when he's pushing out.
It's a very specific spot.
It is.
Oh. Usually you'll see a little bit further to the left, I would say, but right there you want to see into that small little choke. So Newbee are taking it slow. They know that they can't take like small 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s because Nature's Prophet's going to be there, and they have the BOTs, I believe, on the Phantom Lancer. So like these fights can turn around very, very quickly for them, and they don't want to give away unnecessary track kills. So they're looking for very smart fights, just 3v1 engagements where they can just get a clean kill just like that, or large-scale 5-on-5s where Venomancer and Batrider can completely take over the fight. And Bounty Hunter is pretty useless, I would say, in 5-on. He's great for track, but in terms of actual damage output, it's very, very low. And then at the same time, VP are looking for engagements where NewBee overextended, they can outnumber them, or whether or not they can sneak in Roche at any time.
Manta style finish now for Mugi, so I mean, we've seen anyway in the last few fights, he's been very good at getting away on low health. Now it's going to be even harder for VP to tackle him and take him down, stopping him from getting the Sunder off.
But you have to consider that they also have a really hard time stopping the Fiend's Grip. Like, who's actually going to stop the Fiend's Grip? You're going to start off with Lasso on somebody else. Spirit Breaker is the best one, but it's just Batrider and Spirit Breaker that can stop the Fiend's Grip. That's a big problem if you're Terrorblade. You might have to consider getting Lincoln Sphere at this point because you know you might just get disabled for 5 seconds of your BKB because it's super unreliable that your teammates are going to be able to help you out. Or you have to tell your supports, hey, I need a Lotus Orb because I don't want to build a Lincoln Sphere and you guys aren't going to be able to cancel the Fiend's Grip. Or maybe someone else is going to build a Yule Scepter, like the Batrider, to stop the Fiend's Grip very early on. But that's definitely something you need to consider if you're NewBee, or else I could definitely see this Terrorblade just being locked down the entire fight and just not being able to do any damage.
Yeah, CCC just looking for a BKB next. And
dang, Shadowblade, he's pretty farmed.
He is. Kaka, I mean, a lot of the times when NewBee's sort of been grouping up and preparing to fight somewhere, Kaka's been elsewhere on a side lane, just continuing to farm up, knowing that it's relatively easy for the Spirit Breaker to come in across the map and get involved. And as you say, a lot of the times, because they need him to be the one to cancel that Bane, they don't really want him starting the fights. They want him to come in at a stage where he can interrupt that channel.
This is a big deal, the Shadowblade, because he can pick off the Nature's Prophet and the Phantom Lancer like very, very easily. Like Phantom Lancer, he wasn't in a great spot last time. He couldn't like doppelganger the charge because he was close to the tree line, but he didn't expect that charge. Now he's going to be expecting the charge. He's going to be like sitting in the middle lane and he can beat doppelganger it. But when you have an Invis Spirit Breaker and you don't really have detection on the Phantom Lancer, you're going to get caught out a lot by this charge. And he also hid the Shadow Amulet in his stash. He didn't bring it on him, so they have no idea that this Shadowblade is coming.
And as you said, it's going to be quick in comparison to what you normally see on a position of Spirit Breaker. They'll go with the charge onto the bounty, bringing him back with the Nether Strike. No, Kaka is actually going to cancel his ult. They don't want to commit the ults by the looks of it onto the bounty hunter. They just want to get out of there. They're scared. No one is solo turning up. There's the Fiend's Grip. As you say, very hard for them to do anything to stop it. Stun on 2, catches them out. The Shuriken bouncing in. Not quite enough damage to bring down Kaka, who will survive. NewBee keep themselves at bay for the time being. Pasha's tried to come in from an awkward angle at the side, but Kaka charges in on very minimal health. The lightning flying through from Ramsey, and the final right click from Pasha finishes off the Spirit Breaker, but the Flame Break from SCCC knocks back the Nature's Prophet. Pasha's down. KP's in trouble on the sidelines though. Solo chasing him down with no one's illusions. The Shrine's there. KP will live. Just the 1-for-1 at the moment. Now VP looking to get out Solo straight away with the TP, but he's not going to make it. SCCC's there in time with the lasso. And NewBee will get 2 for VP's best attempts there in the middle. And they dealt with that very nicely. We saw the Fiend's Grip coming through, but it wasn't enough to get the kill. They're still able to move Kaka out. He finally dies.
It was on the Spirit Breaker too.
Yeah.
You ideally don't want to do that, but he wanted to start out the fight. So the way the fight went down was NewBee actually were looking to jump, but Pasha cast his Nature's Prophet ultimate right when he was about to jump, and then his blink got disabled, and then they had a few seconds to buy, and NewBee like, we don't really want to take this fight so close to the Shrine. And notice he could have cast Lasso. It wasn't like he misclicked. He's like, I don't really want to engage on this. This is not a good fight for us. We might have to take the fight closer to Shrine. I might get slept as soon as I Lasso. There's all these bad things that can happen. And then instead he pulls back closer to his side of the cliff where he has the Observer Ward and where they can pull back to the Shrine later just in case things get a little bit hairy. So that's a really tough call to make. You blink in and you don't actually Lasso just so you can take the fight in a better place. And they end up winning the fight because of that. That's a big play from SCCC. Yeah,
very next level stuff here from NewBee. And SCCC is going to get nightmared. They do have Ramses coming across as well with the TP from Pasha, but there's a force. Nice force from NewBee to make sure that Ramses can't close the gap. Pasha TP's in onto the high ground just in case a fight does kick off. Kaka trying to lead in with the Shadow Blade. See if he can find an opening, but he's going to be nightmare. They'll get the lasso onto Ramses, dragging back the big kill, and they'll get it. Ramses is down. Big pick off for NewBee, and they're not done yet. Kaka with the Nether Strike trying to bring Solo back, but that Glimmer Cape He's on his way out of there, but KP forces forward, gets the Gale connection. Solo nightmares to dodge the charge damage, but it doesn't matter. It won't save him at the end of the day as Newbee pick up a second. Newbee starting to get a sequence of good fights after good fights that VP are struggling to deal with.
Damn, SCCC is playing so well. He's using his lasso at like the perfect moments in the fight right now.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, he's just not going on the first opportunity. He's just waiting. His patience. He's going on the right opportunity.
And on the flip side, Solo's like, where's all my damage? He's gripping people, but no one's dying. That's not a good sign if you're a Bane. So they really need no one to get more HP. He went a very, very glass cannon build. He has like really no HP items, just a tiny bit of strength from his Aquila. That's about it. So once he gets more HP, then he can actually start running to the fights. He did go for the stat talent at 15.
And I think in terms of that damage, as you say, we're just seeing the power of just having the 4 staffs on Newbee's lineup. As you say, there's no real way to cancel the Fiend's Grip, but as long as you can sort of reposition your ally.
That's a good way to deal with the Fiend's Grip.
It's very hard for Ramses to find the follow-up stun. They need some sort of damage to come out in return. Yeah, if you can shove him back into the midst of you all, he's going to be fine.
And Solo does have a glimmer kick this game.
Yeah.
This is a lot of benefit of the track. I think he was like super, super poor in some of the other games, but this combination is okay for them. But he's not getting any damage from Will. That's a problem.
Kaka will connect with the charge. He's got to be a little careful. No, I say that. SCCC's there. Quickly onto Solo, making sure that there's no Fiend's Grip for this fight. That's one down. Kaka look for the nether strike onto Lil, but Lil still a little too speedy. Had the remainder of that haste to get out of there. Pasha tries for the Sprout and the TP out, but he's not going to make it. They've got the vision with the Firefly. Pasha's gone as well. VP just bleeding kills fight after fight now, and unable to put a dent in Newbee's lineup at all, as it seems.
Yeah, it might be time to start BKBing up. I think they might need... They probably need 3 BKBs on their side, I would say. And that's a lot of gold. That's 11, 12,000 gold that you don't really want to buy. And SCCC already has his BKB too.
I was going to say, I mean, SCCC, this has just been incredible play from him. I mean, we heard from the panel, some mentioned, you know, in the previous series that we've seen, SCCC certainly been the star player. This hero, as you mentioned at the start of this game, a little different for him, but he's absolutely nailing it. 8-2-8 on the Batrider.
Uh-oh, they get vision. They don't really have vision of Roach's HP right now. They don't
actually
really know how
contest
low it
this?
is.
It's hard for these heroes to jump in on VP, and it looks like Newbee will get this one, no problems whatsoever. As Mugi grabs the Aegis, Faith falling low. The Soul Repeal should be enough to save him as he gets himself back out of harm's way.
Oh, you want to take a fight close to our shrine? We'll gladly do that. And we have 2 BKBs.
So hard for VP to take skirmishes at this stage. Is it not just the BKB, but with the Aegis in hand, for Mugi as well? Is it for VP? You just have to sort of cut your losses and just focus on farming those core items, as you say. You just can't afford to meet Newbee head-to-head at this stage.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't think Newbee's lineup would be so good at teamfight, yet so good at picking off split pushers.
Nothing that Pasha can do against this sort of advance. He'll silence up SCCC, but no lasso is needed. The damage is too much. Kaka quick with the TP out as no one was looking to get something in return. But he just can't do the damage in time. They don't have the lockdown. Just 3 escapes from Newbee.
They've been really good at just not giving unnecessary kills up to Virtus.Pro. But still, you do have to consider the net worth advantage is still in their lead. Newbee haven't invested in BKBs.
Only slightly.
Only slightly.
And it's getting smaller. It's going the right way.
They
for
still
Newbee.
aren't even close to winning teamfights, though.
Sure.
So you're going to have to invest a lot of that net worth into BKBs, and then we can see an even fight. Oh, wow, he went for 15 strength. A lot of the people take the spell amp just because it's like all your damage, but realizing that he just doesn't want to die in the fight. When's the last time we saw a track kill for Virtus.Pro? It's been a long time.
They had that one sort of hectic fight in the mid lane over Newbee's side of the map about 15 minutes ago, but since then, they just haven't found the chance to make any sort of plays around Lil's Bounty Hunter.
This is just signature Newbee, though, with a very strong team fight and playing very tight. They're sticking close to each other, they're retreating at the same time, they're going in on the same targets.
I mean, I think that, if anything, that just goes to show how the damage is struggling elsewhere. The fact that, I mean, do you normally expect a Bane to be on par with your other heroes in terms of damage?
No. That's actually ridiculous.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
You
I mean,
go
Solo himself has been having a good game, but at the same time, it's, as I say, it's just a little bit of a worry for the rest of the team that they just are unable to do as much as they want to in the fight. They have these they went for the diffuser blade straight up on the brown boots on PL, looking to make things happen.
And he invested in the medallion too on Lil, so they weren't able to take Roche, and now he's like, oh crap, we can't win team fights, and now he has to go for a mech. Maybe if he had gone for a mech earlier, then they could have started winning team fights, but he gambled on them being able to take Roche down very, very early, and didn't really count on Newbee being able to just tear them apart in this mid game.
There's no doubt about it, though. Ramses is still absolutely massive on the Lesh. If they can get any sort of jump or just that initial stun onto Mugi, they have a great chance of bursting down the Terrorblade. But yeah, with the Manta and the BKB and nearly Diffusal Blade, it's not going to be easy. And you just know as well that as soon as if they do find a stun onto Mugi, SCC is going to be there on the back lines ready to jump in and peel off any of the heroes that are doing the most damage. He's going to have that lasso and that positioning that Newbee require to continue to win these fights. Charge onto no one. See if he can play his way out of this. He does have a haste rune and a Manta Star, but the Nether Strike into the lasso, leaving him very little time to react at all. He can't get out of this one. No one is gone. And every time VP just slip up in terms of revealing one of their heroes, Newbee are immediately on top of it. Pasha gets a decent amount of rat done on the bottom lane as the tier 3 does get brought low, but these are big kills that Newbee's getting. And this time for no one to be off the map is so painful because it gives Mugi that chance to just increase the lead he has. VP trying to kick things off. They look towards the mid lane, but this is a hard fight for them to take around the tombstone. SCCC comes in with the TP and Pasha's gone. They're looking for more. Solo's not getting out. The connection from the charge enables Newbee to pick up not just Pasha, but Solo as well. Glimmer Cape won't save him. Double kill for SCCC, who is continuing to play, indeed, as the game says, at an absolute beyond godlike pace. 12, 2, and 8.
He TP'd onto a zombie. I think it's one hit from killing, but the zombie was like right on top of another zombie and right on top of the Spirit Breaker, so he couldn't actually focus it down. Pasha was like, oh, it kind of looked like he had BOT2s with the way that he TP'd on.
And they can go for this, but because SCCC, he still has the lasso. They didn't use Metamorphosis for that fight. They've got it ready for this push. I don't know if VP can hold this back.
No, Phantom Lander does not have BKB. He can't really run in there. At least Ramses does.
How do you stop this if you're VP? You may just have to let this mid set go. SCCC's going in looking for the lasso. He will be used up. May have overstepped it. It has the BKB, but the Fiend's Grip is there. Locked underneath the tower. They'll go for the charge. Challenge to save him. It will allow SCCC to force back. Kaka will pay for this, but he does save SCCC and grants the space for Mugi to finish off the tier 3. Newbee will now look to back up. VP, they desperately want to make Newbee pay for this. They've got the chase now, but Mugi, he BKBs. He knows there's no Fiend's Grip. He TPs out. Faith will be left behind. They do lose a second support Newbee, but they get the job done.
What
they get that
Yules.
tier 3.
That was a fantastic Yules coming out from Ramses. If you didn't have that Yules, that could have been Rax down right there. And at the same time, if SCC has popped his BKB before, he just didn't expect that fast of reaction coming out from Ramses.
Yeah, overall. Oh, man, we just heard from. We missed that, but there's a courier now, but 6,000 gold net worth. Look at the items that were on that, Ben. That's a painful loss. That was Diffusal Blade, KP's BK. Whoa, that is quite the snipe indeed.
Fortunately for them, it doesn't interrupt their timing so much because they already took down a tier 3, so they can just take down shrines and then Roche at their pace. It's not like they're also waiting for the Metamorphosis, so it's not a huge deal for them. But I think they're still really strong despite them not having 6,000 gold in their bank.
Yeah, and they can look towards those shrines, of course, now.
And everyone on Newbee is BKBing up. Venomancer and Spearbreaker too are going for BKBs. It's crazy how many BKBs there are.
I mean, absolutely the way to go against this Lesh and Diffusal PL.
Yeah, so that means PL's the one that needs to do all the damage, right? Or you need to be able to bait these BKBs out somehow.
And the problem is, well, as you can see from no one's build, he's looking towards the heart. You realize he himself, he's got to get BKB or high. He has to have some sort of a defensive item. Otherwise, he just can't stand toe-to-toe in the fights with these big cores like Mugi's Terrorblade. It's just impossible. Oh, VP have to be careful how they come up here. Newbee are smoked up. They are in a better position. And VP are keeping away from it. It looks like they will just deal with the pressure that was put on by Mugi's illusion up top. They're scanning up, seeing if they can find anyone in the sidelines, but it looks like neither of these smokes will amount to anyone's deaths as both teams keep themselves to themselves.
But Newbee has to deal with this push on bottom. These treants are going to hunt down that T3. That T3 is pretty low.
They're probably going to get it. Yeah, they're definitely going to get it. Easy wrap for Mr. Pasha. He just takes the tier 3, nothing that breaker can do to stop that one.
And immediately Pasha TP's at the top shrine
Yeah.
and is already on top of it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, yeah, Pash, as I said, he's, for me, Pash and SCCC, the two ones that from each side have just impressed me with their play this game.
So now this opens up VP to actually contest the Roche without that shrine available to them. That's a big ticket for Virtus.Pro. And they still do have the shrine available to them despite that T3 falling down a little bit earlier.
That's true. It's getting a lot of money for VP. Very easy movements for Pasha that Newbee have been unable to put a stop to. And these little gains are adding up. 3K, 2K, 3K gold lead for VP that it is fluctuating between, but it is a lead. And as you say, with the BKBs online for Newbee, despite having that lead on VP, these next team fights are not going to be easy. Newbee can get the BKBs off, and as we've talked about before, with the lack of hard disable on VP's lineup, it's very likely that Newbee will be able to pop their BKBs at opportune times at the beginning of fights.
They really just need more gold on Virtus.Pro. I'm looking at Bounty Hunter's makeup of his gold right now, and he has a lot of passive gold, and you want that other to be way big. The other, only 1.4k of that is tracked.
Yeah.
So this gamble for them is not really paying off too much for the gold, and everyone else only has like 300, 200 on the track gold.
Lane SCCC, he's found a free pick, jumps in, grabs Solo. Solo is gone, he'll look for the Nightmare Deny. It's not going to work. Firefly takes it off, SCCC gets the kill. SCCC and his bats, reign continues as they'll now look to push down mid. There's a man down on VP, down bottom lane. Pasha trying for the split push, but they've got to do something about this mid lane. I said they have to, but it doesn't look like they can. It's falling low. They'll jump in with the illusions, trying to focus Mugi. Ramses gets the BKB out. Kaka with his BKB as well, looking towards Ramses. But the Solar Crest buff there from Lil, making sure that Ramses is incredibly tanky for this fight. Mass BKBs coming out from Newbee, as well as the Poison Nova from KP onto all three of VP. But no one and Ramses, they're trying to fight into this. They want to get kills out of the back of it, but Kaka charges out. They will get KP as they surround the Venom, take him down. Pasha gets punished as well on the bottom lane as he looked for the rat onto the melee racks, but he was unsuccessful. SCCC and Mugi there just in time to put a stop to it. So Newbee getting these kills, only losing KP. They keep the bottom racks alive, and they finally get that melee racks down in the mid lane.
And I'll start with a solo pickoff. Normally you're okay with dying a solo. He's like an ogre who's already bloodlusted someone, or Bane, who usually is not that important, but he's the only anti-BKB.
They need that Fiend Script.
They really do. Normally this position 5 is not so crucial for them, but Newbee get Irax, and Pasha isn't able to get one in return despite him having a BKB on his own. And his BKB, there's so many ways to destroy him through that. Terror Blade has so much physical damage, the Spirit Breaker and the Bat Rider both can also disable him through it. So Virtus.Pro, they need something more.
And SCCC, he's pretty much got the money for a completed Shiver's Guard. VP, they're looking for the big risk plays. They're trying to get this Roshan, but Newbee are aware this is very hard for VP to get away with. And in fact, SCC just jumps in. He finds the opening straight away onto Ramses, dragging back this ledge track. He's in a lot of trouble surrounded. He gets the stun up, but the BKB's out from Mugi. Ramses trying to run. Solo goes for the Fiend's Grip. Will get it off onto Kaka. They're focusing down the Spirit Breaker. Some from Ramses does catch out SCCC. He pops the BKB, but it won't keep him alive. They've got the physical damage. SCCC's down, and this is the fight that VP were hoping for. Faith will get away, but still it's 2 kills. SCCC also had the gems, so VP able to get the gem into their hands. And now with 2 heroes off the map for Newbee, VP can head back into the Roche pit. And what a fight for them to take there. Quick reactions, Solo having the Fiend Script to contain Kako, who for the most part has been a huge issue with the charge buys. And they'll get this rush.
Ramses going all of those mitigation talents was really huge for him. He went to magic resistance, he went to strength. He had the defensive sleep during him. I'm not sure if he got the solar crest off before, but they have like the buckler and then they have the mech. Like all these items helped him tank up. And he wasn't even really that low. He's at like half HP. That's a big problem. Terribly needs more damage now.
He's got the Skadi complete for the next fight. Still very, very beefy, and they are looking to play as they look towards Solo. Solo's got the backup of Pasha and no one. Mugi has to be careful how far out he comes on this top lane. And yeah, VP will be fine. They'll see Newbee cancel their advance. Completed Greaves onto Lil off the back of that. And as we can see, you know, 1 Roche, 1 decent fight of a couple of heroes. Bam, VP, 8k gold lead. You can't afford to lose fights against this Bounty Hunter lineup because they will rack up an insane amount of value. And VP, with that Aegis, they're ready to make big plays themselves. They're on the top lane, looking to push in. We'll see what NewBee can do to stop it.
They need lasso on a really good target. Maybe not even one of the cores at this point. I think it's actually probably just best to make it an immediate 4-on-5.
Radiant's top tower has
See if
fallen.
VP want to stick around for more. They're pretty strong in this moment. The ults are back up, of course, for NewBee. Metamorphosis is also ready for Mugi.
I don't know if you want to get lassoed on the high ground.
It's a hard push. They have got very good high ground defense, NewBee, this game. There's no doubt about that.
But that's a large chunk of gold going the way of Virtus.Pro, and
Yeah.
on top of that, the gem too. So now NewBee have to go back and purchase another gem, and that slows them down so much. And they still haven't been able to take down either of these shrines yet. One of the benefits of having the Nature's Prophet is shrines are super easy for you to kill. Don't even need to throw your main hero at it. Whereas NewBee, they have to have the Terrorblade here. Maybe some Venom Wards once he hits level 25, but I think he's still a little bit away from that. He only just hit level 20.
The track out onto Mugi. No one thinking about going in for this one. We'll just turn to clean out the illusions. And as we saw earlier, the illusion gold certainly adding up into the bank of VP. A lot of summons going down this game, and we also did see a glimpse at how much the PL can do about the tombstone. It's taken it down 5 times, made about 900 or such gold from those tombstone takedowns. It's all adding up for No One. He's second on the net worth now.
I didn't realize the Terrorblade illusion had so much gold. It's like 2,000. It's a pretty hefty amount.
VP once again, with that Aegis and Cheese, confident and putting the pressure on. Looking for this tier 2, NewBee may just have to let these outer towers go. They've got to wait for the high ground defense. They'll try with the fortification, but no one just gets out with the doppelganger, commits with the illusion push. They'll try and slow with a reflection. Kaka trying to tease VP off this tier 2, but it's not going to work. The illusions will finish off the tower. VP get another objective. The high ground push, as we're saying, is going to be a whole different story, a whole nother level of difficulty for VP to conquer. But they're certainly regaining control of this game, and if anything, it's looking like they're quite comfortably in the lead now.
Looking at VP's items, they've actually kind of all in on making one hero super, super strong. We just saw a medallion pickup on solo. This is 42 minutes in. He picks up a medallion when they already have a solar crest. So they're going to double down on casting on Ramses, I would say, just give him some additional armor. Surprised they don't have a Vlad's for that additional armor for their entire team. And then the Buckler, too, even though they already have Greaves. I don't think he's going to build a Crimson Guard this game. Maybe like 40 minutes down the line he might, but all this little bit of armor.
Charge onto Ramses. I don't see Kaka connect, but there. Whoa, SCC jumps in. The Nightmares, they're trying to buy some sort of safety for Ramses. It will allow Ramses to get the BKB off. Reflections out from Mugi. But look at this feed script. Solo, beautiful feed script onto Mugi, and they'll set him up for death. He's down for 80 seconds. VP, they clean up Faith on the Undying as well. They're looking for the melee racks. They're going to get more out of this one. SCCC slowed down by the lightning. The buybacks have to come out for NewBee. They're looking towards Ramses. He's falling low, but he has the cheese. Solar Crest and Medallion buffing him up as well. He's too tanky for the side of NewBee to deal with, and No One, he's going straight for SCCC for the second time. SCCC's down. Ultra kill for No One. They're losing heroes permanently. The buybacks are not working for NewBee. KP's going to drop as well. Rampage for No One. He's going to drop, but he has the Aegis. I think this game may just be over, Ben. That Fiend's Grip from Solo, grabbing Mugi amongst the whole entire chaos of the fight. What an insane play for him there, and Ramses will kill himself to get his team back up to full health. They're sticking around, they're taking objectives, and what a fight for NewBee to lose that. That's so like that Fiend's Grip, Ben.
Yep. They didn't really prepare for it in the late game, though, I would say. Like with their item build, they didn't itemize for Lotus Orb. They didn't get a Lincoln Sphere on the Terrorblade. Maybe instead of a BKB, might have been a little bit better. And
oh my goodness,
more importantly, they didn't lasso him. They could have lassoed him easily. But
look at this. I think the game's. Could we have a look at the net worth graph? Because that chart must have just gone. Yeah, look at that, just straight down. It's going more than that as well, because it's a 30k gold lead off the back of that. Such a swing in such quick time. Can NewBee really? Oh, they're still down 2 members. No One, he's just going for the finish. He's on to the Ancient. Can NewBee actually stop VP from finishing the game off here? They'll charge forward onto Solo. Base force back to base. I think it's game over. VP, they're doing it. It's game on. They'll take it. Virtus.Pro take the win in what has to be just one of the biggest swings in terms of net worth in such a small amount of time in that bottom lane. It just all went to pot for Newbee, and VP, they just absolutely trashed them in that bottom lane fight.
Yeah, it was rather impressive from them to keep up the net worth despite Newbee getting these constant pickoffs throughout the mid game. I would say SCC